Today is such a great day. We've been working on these birds and they are looking great. Today you're going to get to add on some really fun details. You know, last time we added on our feathers. And some of you got to do the nest, but not all of you. To make the bird's nest, we're going to use these fantastic shredded papers. And you're going to need a glue stick. Now I'm going to put my little bird in the nest. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that glue stick and I'm going to rub that glue stick. And you know what, to do this nest, you really have got to use a lot of glue here to make sure all those papers are glued down. I am actually kind of drawing the nest here with my glue stick. And then I'm going to take these papers and push them down into the glue. And so you can see how I do that. And now my fingers are getting a little sticky. That's okay, because I know I can always go over to the sink when I'm finished and wash them off. But you are going to get all that paper and push it down. Now, if too much paper is bunched on the top, that's okay. We can turn this sideways and all the little papers that didn't get stuck down will fall off. And then you can re-glue them, add some more glue and re-glue. But let me show you, oh, look how cute that is. Don't you just love this little bird's nest? And any of those little papers that didn't stick, you can kind of push off. So there's my bird's nest. Now the other thing our bird needs is an eye. This is important. Now with the eye, I have cut up these fantastic painted papers that some of my first graders have created. And I need to decide what color eye I should put on my bird. Now, I know the eye is going to go right about here, and I can see that I used pink, orange, and green. So when I'm selecting my paper, I maybe don't want to use pink, orange, and green because it would blend in too much. I want to have something called contrast, and contrast is when you use a color that is different from what's there. I'm going to use this blue. Now, for the eye, we're going to learn an important skill, and this is called tracing. Over on the supply table, I have this whole bin of lids, and these are great lids for tracing and making the eye shape, and I have different sizes. You may choose the size that you would like. If there's not one available, you can just share with somebody else at your table. I kind of like this size. I'm looking at this and I think, oh, that eye looks good. What you're going to do, I always like to trace on the back side. So this is going to be the front, so I'm going to turn it over on the back. The reason is when I trace this, sometimes it gets tricky for me and I mess up a line and I don't want that on the front. What you're going to do is you're going to set it in the center and I'm going to hold it with one hand while I trace around it with the other. You may use a pencil or marker, whatever works for you. So you can see I traced that circle. Then I'm going to cut it out using my scissors. When you're cutting, friends, make sure you take your time. You hold your scissors properly and you cut right on the line. I really want to take my time on this because when you're cutting a circle, you've got to turn that paper as you're cutting, and that can be tricky. So please take your time, don't get frustrated. And you can see that I cut right along that line. When I turn it over, there's my eye. Now I'm going to use my glue stick, and this time I'm going to put the glue stick on the eye and then glue that down. Also on the inside of that eye, I'm going to use a marker to draw the pupil. The pupil is that black part of the eye. And I'm going to draw it just like that. So I've used a piece of scrap paper. Then I've used a marker to color that in. Oh, that's cute. Now, I will be coming around gluing sticks on. Now, Mrs. Kearns is the only one that may glue the sticks down, and the reason is because I've got to use something called hot glue, and only adults can use that hot glue. So I'm going to glue those down, just like that. Now, something else I want you to think about is if you want to add any other details to your paper, I do have those scrap papers, the painted papers. Let's say maybe I want to put a little that looks like a feather up at the top. I can, with my scrap paper, I'm going to turn it over. Remember, you always draw on the back. And I'm going to make a little shape like this to glue on his head. Again, cutting it out, you need to take your time, cut right along that edge, do a nice job cutting, and then I can use my glue stick to glue this down. Now remember, you are the artist and you are going to make your bird original just like you are. So you can add any details that you would like to add. Oh look, oh that's funny. Let me go ahead and glue that down. That's just like a little feather at the top. I'm gonna glue that down just like that. Think of what you may want to add. You can add anything that you would like to your picture. I cannot wait to see your bird in its bird's nest. Have a great time.